Hey guys, with me is a brand new 2019 Volvo XC60. This is a T6 all-wheel drive R-Design model, so that pretty much means this is fully loaded. And today I'll be reviewing this and comparing it to the XC40, which I just reviewed a few weeks ago. I came out pleasantly surprised after reviewing that subcompact luxury SUV, and today I'm going to be reviewing this one, which is slightly larger, more luxurious, and has more features. So I'm going to give you the rundown, let you know the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you can decide if this is right for you and is this a worthy upgrade to the XC40. Stay tuned. I want to give a big thanks to Volvo of Lyle. For more information, click on the URL in the description below. So let's start out by looking at the side of the XC60, which in my opinion looks great. Now this is the R-Design model, so you do get a couple extra exterior features such as this aluminum trim. This is not chrome, this is actually aluminum, so it actually does look different. You get matching mirrors, which also has that aluminum look. And you do get these special 19-inch wheels, which have these aluminum face and the black insert. So that's kind of the R-Design package. Now, some of you guys might be confused when you look at this. You're thinking, well, this looks actually exactly the same as XC40. It is slightly longer. How you can really tell is this back window. Those of you guys that seen my XC40 review video, you know that the back window kind of cuts off. It has this unique design where it kind of goes up from there. It's controversial. Some people like it, some people don't. But that's kind of how you could tell. This is slightly longer and the window is more of a traditional design, where the XC40, you do get that cutoff. So that's how you could tell. Now this is a compact luxury SUV, so it's not going to be too big. It's not even a mid-size SUV. Now on the XC40, I came away pleasantly surprised because one of the things was that the space inside was much bigger than you would think. Especially in the second row, I was able to fit in there just fine. So I'm going to test out the second row in this, and I'm sure it'll be comparable, if not better. But I think most of the space that you gain from this is going to be in the boot area, which I will show you guys as well. So here's a good look at the front of this XC60. Right off the bat, you guys can tell this looks like the XC40 and the XC90, and that's because Volvo used the same design across all of their SUVs. It's really hard to tell them apart, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because to me this is a super aggressive modern look, and I really like this front end, especially with the headlights, with the integrated Thor hammer daytime running lights. Big grille, because it's R-Design. This grille is wrapped in aluminum, and then you get a little like chin spoiler over here, and of course you do get the parking sensors. Overall, this is a really good look in my opinion. It's just that it's going to be hard to tell apart between the three different SUVs. All right, so here's a good look of the backside to this XC60, which to me looks gorgeous. Compared to the XC40, this just looks more substantial, more luxurious, because the whole bumper is now painted. It doesn't have any of that plastic that I complain about. Also, the taillight and the width of this XC60 just makes it look good. Of course, you do have the chrome surrounds, which I would have preferred if it matched the aluminum color, but I could see why they want to do chrome. Kind of matches the Volvo lettering. But overall, I think this is pretty much close to perfection as you can get on a rear end to a compact luxury SUV. And of course, you do have the privacy rear glass that slopes down with the roof, and yeah, no complaints here. Now here's a good look of the trunk, which is a good size. This is definitely longer and wider than the XC40. However, one of the best features to the XC40 was the fact that this rear lid can be folded halfway, and you can actually hang your groceries on there. There's actually hooks. That is not here. Under here is just a spare tire. This thing is vastly improved, this privacy cover for your things in the back. On the XC40, I thought it was I didn't like it on the XC40 because it was just hanging over here and it was kind of a nuisance. I said I would have much rather preferred something that slid in and out, just like this design. This is something that is definitely a big improvement. But overall, it's nice back here. Just like the XC40, you get a couple buttons to fold the seats down. For me, I feel like they fold down pretty violently. It actually folds down really quickly. So take a listen. I don't know, to me that just sounds like a bit too violent. I would have preferred if it kind of slowly went down, but there's definitely some kind of spring action going on. That's my only complaint. And once you fold it down, it doesn't come back up. These buttons are only for it to fold down. You have to manually push them back up. All right, here's me in the second row, and no surprise, it is very spacious back here. Just like the XC40, which was a big surprise, XC60, you get even more room. I'm 5'10", plenty of headroom, plenty of leg room, and this is my normal seating position. So someone 6'3", 6'4" could probably fit back here just fine. And the seats actually feel better. This is the R design seat, so they have a bit more cushion, and they have kind of like a suede material on top, which feels really good. But it's very roomy back here. It's very surprising for a compact luxury SUV. Feels very comfortable. I'm pretty sure I could sit back here for hours and be okay with that. Let me show you a few things over here, which I normally don't show, but I feel like this is important. First of all, because of our design, you get this cool door sill that's made in aluminum. And look at the pedals, okay? Those are good looking pedals. I have seen cars that are hundreds of thousands of dollars with cheap plastic pedals that do not stand out. These are good looking pedals. Also, look at these seats, these R design seats. It says R design right there. Really good looking. You get several layers. You do get kind of like a suede in the inside that kind of hugs you in. The boosters. These are gorgeous looking seats. To start the car, there's no push button, okay? It's actually pretty interesting. It's a knob that you turn. So of course, with any push starts, put your foot on the brake, and then in this one, you don't press it, you actually turn it. Interesting. And then you do get a drive mode selector, which you press down, and then you could select over there, comfort, dynamic, off-road, eco. Let me talk about this gear selector, which is actually normal. Now, park, reverse, neutral, and drive, which is normal. If you want to go in reverse, go down more for drive. You want to park, go up there. It's easy. You don't have to relearn this. I don't know why every manufacturer wants to reinvent this. There is no need. Now, if you want to go into pure manual mode, you can go all the way down and then go to the left, which over here you can see if you go here, it is manual mode. That means you have to control the paddle shifters. However, if you're in drive mode, you can still shift with these gorgeous looking aluminum paddle shifters if you wanted to. So I gotta commend Volvo for this. This is really good. This is a usual Volvo design. All their cars, SUVs have this, which is really a good thing. This is a very responsive touchscreen. In the middle is kind of like your dashboard. You can configure this however you want. On the right side, you could actually download apps such as Pandora. And there's other things that tell you like your driver performance, and also how you could control like your FM radio, your Bluetooth and stuff like that. And those of you guys that are using smartphones, which is pretty much everyone, you would love this design. It is very responsive, and you get to play with apps, and you can configure however you want, right? And also Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are available on this model. Now, moving to the left side, this is where you can configure some of the settings. Like if you want to turn things on or off, such as auto start stop, lane keeping assist, cross traffic alert, park assist, blind spot, I mean everything, okay? You could park in and out, and you could have camera. This is on this car, it is only the rear camera. This car is not configured with the 360, which is really cool, but that is an available option. Now, if you want to go back, okay, there is a home button here. So a lot of people don't know that there is a home button, and then you can fold back the rear headset and so forth. Now, you can also adjust the passenger seat, which is interesting. If you adjust like your driver's seat, now let's say I'm adjusting the lumbar and I'm pressing it on the seat. This automatically comes up on the screen. You could go up and down, forward and backwards. You can also adjust the cushion to slide in and out. Now, to activate this, you have to press the button on the seat. However, you can also adjust it for the passenger. And road sign information, which is really cool. If you look over here, if you see, like, for example, 45 mile speed limit, this whole thing, this whole gauge cluster is one big screen, and it is great. You can see the navigation right in the middle so you don't get distracted. You can see a whole bunch of information. Of course, there is a menu here where you can see the trip, media, phone navigation. Now, on the steering wheel, something that I complained about on the XC40 was these buttons were cheap, gray looking plastic. That is not the case here. A black colored trim, which kind of matches this. So it actually looks pretty substantial. It's pretty simple. Up and down, you could do voice activation, menu, and this is to control some of the volume and so forth. Over here, there's not that many buttons. A lot of these cars I review have a lot of buttons. This one doesn't. To activate the power liftgate, you know, the brightness of the screen. Now here is for the memory seats, and that's pretty much it. Because this is an R design, it does get an upgraded stereo and Harman Kardon. You can see a big speaker here, over there, and in the back. Now you get some buttons here as well. You know, obviously volume, right? You can go forward and backwards, play, defrosters, hazard lights. So you do get some buttons here, which is good. So you don't always have to mess with the menu. And if you look at the dash, you know, this aluminum right here, everything is pretty good. This is soft plastic up here, so it feels very good. Now looking at top, you get a mirror with a compass, and of course you can control the sunroof up here and also some lights. Pretty basic. All right, so now I'm on the road. First impression, just like any other luxury car that you would expect, quiet, comfort, and you definitely get that. It is very quiet in here. It's actually more quiet than the XC40. I could tell right away. A lot less road noise from the tires. There is no wind noise. Actually, the suspension soaks up the bumps a lot better. So overall, the drive is more comfortable right now, which is a good thing. Now this XC60 does have 19-inch tires, not 20-inch. That was an option on XC40, so that could be a factor. This T6 engine, it is a 4-cylinder turbo, pushes out over 300 horsepower and close to 300 feet-pounds of torque. It is definitely a lot quieter. I could tell right away. When it revs up, you don't hear it as much. It's more refined. As I'm taking these corners right now, I like the steering. This steering wheel is thicker. This leather is nice. It's nice and thick in your hand, so I do like that. It is not smaller. One of the things I said in the XC40 was, yeah, I feel like the steering wheel is smaller than a normal one. This XC60 is definitely normal size, so I do like that, but overall it feels substantial. I really like it. I'm taking these corners about 25-30 miles per hour right now. The car feels nimble. This is not a boat by any means. It feels nice and tight and nimble, which is a really good thing, but you don't really lose the space. I showed you guys the rear seats are actually very large, very comfortable, and the trunk space is plenty big for most families. So I do actually really enjoy the size of this. I will say the seats, they look really comfortable. They look really sporty. I do feel like my back is fully, boosted, right? Like I'm sitting in the seat. However, the bottom cushion doesn't feel that way for some reason. The back definitely does, but the cushion I'm sitting on feels very harsh, like I'm sitting on top of it. I'm not soaked in. But I do like how you could adjust it, like the cushion could be moved up and down and so forth, but the bottom cushion just feels really harsh to me, and I don't know why that is. Visibility is really good. The mirror is actually closer than what I normally expect. So these are the little things, right? The little quirks for every car. That's just slightly different. The mirror is slightly closer, so you do get like a more of a zoomed look when you're looking through it. So that is different. I don't know if you guys just heard that. I'm getting out of a parking spot. The rear collision sensor actually went off, so that definitely worked. You can kind of see the cars because the camera in the back is kind of like a wide angle. You can kind of see it, but I could definitely see how that would be useful if you're parked next to some trucks or something and you can't really see. So now I am going to put the car into dynamic, which is high performance, and we're going to see how it is on the road. Ooh. Yeah, this engine is pretty good. 300 horsepower, 300 foot-pounds of torque. Definitely gets this XC60 moving substantially faster than the XC40, which had the T4 engine model. So definitely a big improvement. This is an 8-speed automatic. Let me try the paddle shifter. Yeah, the paddle shifters are great. Downshifts, upshifts are pretty fast. Wow, this is wild. So one of the things I couldn't figure out when I was reviewing the XC60 was the lane assist. I had it turned on, okay? It's actually called lane keeping aid. I had it turned on and I purposely swerved in and out of lanes and I couldn't activate. I just tried that in XC60 and it's wild. Now it doesn't beep, but I could see on the screen that it turned orange and the steering wheel actually takes control and actually keeps you within the lines. I'm trying to go into the gravel area and the car's taking over and it's not letting me. I'm not forcing it. I'm sure if I forced it I could take control, but it is keeping me from going into the gravel area, and that is pretty cool. Now the turn signals, they have that analog sound, which I love, but on the screen, obviously because this is a whole screen, is digital, but it has that analog sound, which I love. All right, guys, to conclude, let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly about this XC60. I mean, in terms of the good, there's so much. Starting from the outside, every angle looks great. Front, back, rear, everything is just designed really well. Aggressive, modern, sleek looking. Now, moving on the inside, same thing. The front dash design, the screen, the touch screen, the gauge cluster, this all looks really good, especially the soft touch, the aluminum trim, the door handles, the aluminum door handles. This all just looks high-end and it just feels and looks good. Now this gear selector, I gotta give Volvo props. It's a normal gear selector. I don't know why people have to mess with it. It works. Even the XC40, which was very similar, but they had to change a few things such as like the park button and so forth. No, just build it in. This works great. And the console, everything. And to talk about space, it is very spacious. The trunk has plenty of space. Rear seats have plenty of space for adults and kids, and up here, plenty of space. And although you get plenty of space, the car still feels nimble and small. And finally, let's talk about driving. I really enjoyed my drive, okay? The T6 engine, you know, pushing over 300 horsepower, 300 foot-pounds of torque, definitely made this drive pretty brisk. Acceleration is pretty good. The engine isn't as loud as the T4 that I reviewed in the XC40, so that is also very good. It's not the quickest SUV, okay? There are quicker SUVs. However, it's plenty for this T6 and for most families. And also steering, you know, steering wheel feels great. Steering overall feels really good. I really enjoyed that. And brakes also feel normal, like a linear braking, right? Like the more you push down, the more the car brakes. It's not something where it's like you push down, instantly it brakes. So that is also very good. So overall, guys, the good, there's so much good. Now in terms of bad, there's just a few, okay? Like these seats. Somehow, I like the back. I think the back is really supportive. It holds you in, but the bottom cushion seems like it's kind of harsh, like I'm sitting on top of it for some reason. So that is a negative. The power folding, you know, seats from the trunk, you know, as you guys saw, it kind of just like folds down violently. I would prefer if it went down, if it went slower, and also it would have been nice if they come back up, which they do not. And lastly, I guess, you know, modern cars now, you know, require a lot of USB plugs and you know, for charging phones and so forth, or wireless charging. That's not up here. There's a few USB in here, but it would have been nice if there was some up here, which there isn't. In terms of ugly, there is none. There is none to this SUV. This is a fantastic compact SUV, in my opinion. those of you guys that are in the market for something like this, if you're starting out a family or you have a good career, you're just looking for a good practical car and a good fun car that you want to drive, this is it. I am truly impressed with this XC60. The last thing I want to mention is the price, and in my opinion, is this worth it over a XC40? Now, this is the T6 model, all-wheel drive with the R design, and all that added together, this is about $56,000 out the door. There's a few other little options, but this is roughly about $13,000 more than the XC40 that I reviewed. So is it worth the upgrade? That's really going to be up to you guys. If you guys want a bit more luxury, a bit more comfort, a bit more space, then this is definitely something you guys want to look at. And plus, since the XC60 came out before the XC40, there are more incentives that the dealerships and Volvo are giving, so that actually makes the price difference shrink even more. So definitely something to keep in mind. For me personally, I would choose the XC60 over the XC40. Thanks for watching this. If you guys enjoyed this review, make sure you smash up the likes and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future videos. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.